Hello, hello. Welcome back to Loki's Librarian. I am your librarian, Katrina. If you are new here, welcome. This is where I am reading through the enormous library of books you see behind me, and then I give you a quick synopsis. Oh my God. And forgetting my intro because I'm looking at my face and going, purple is not a good color for my lipstick. I really look spectacularly corpse-like today. But you're going to see why I have purple in just a minute. It's important. It's very relative to my shirt that I'm wearing. See, if you don't, Skeletor. If you are new here, welcome. This is where I'm reading through the enormous library of books you see behind me, and then I give you a quick synopsis and I tell you what I think about them. So if you aren't sure what to read next, just hit that subscribe button, like and share my videos. Let me know what you think in the comments. Unless you're going to be a douchebag, don't bother. I will just block you. This week's book was, I think, thrown out as a joke by a friend of mine because I'm cheeky and occasionally my brain needs a break from serious topics, I accepted the challenge and read What Would Skeletor Do? Diabolical Ways to Master the Universe by Robb Pearlman. And to no one's surprise, there is in fact a Skeletor cocktail, which consists of 2 parts gin, 1 part Blue Caracao, a half part Grand Marnier, 1 part Parfait Amour, lemonade, Maraschino Cherry, and a dash of Elderflower syrup. So let's do this. Part will be an ounce. Done. There's a lot of liquor in this one. This will be fun. I'm painting my bathroom later today, so it's going to be super fun to do drunk. This book was a weird cross between graphic novel, solid psychological advice, and cheeky humor. And I pretty much giggle snorted my way through the entire book. So the graphic novel part is pretty self-explanatory. Let me just find you an example. Like, voila, they all have these pictures from the cartoon, He-Man cartoon, which is hilarious. Aviation Gin. Not sponsored, but I love Ryan Reynolds, so Aviation Gin. So, how about that solid psychological base? Like I said, it's screenshots from He-Man, line drawings, whatever. It's hilarious. Graphic novel's pretty self-explanatory. Solid psychological advice. Well, in the intro, Pearlman points out that one of the key successes in life is to never give up, which Skeletor never does, right? And his plans are completely off the wall, and they're evil, and he's supposed to be the bad guy, but he never gives up. And that is something to be admired, right? We're all supposed to admire He-Man and the heroes of Eternia, but there is definitely something to admire about how Skeletor never quits. And then points out that sometimes that is evil, wrong-headed, and reprehensible, which is a fair statement. It can be evil, wrong-headed, and reprehensible. This is not a very long book. It's not a very long review, so I have to, mix the cocktail quickly while I go through here. It is such a shade of blue. So I'm going to unpack that. How can never quitting be both a good thing and a bad thing, right? How can it be a key to success while also being evil, wrong-headed, and reprehensible? So I'm going to use a couple of different examples. People who never quit, who took it to a very positive place, would be Oprah Winfrey. She never quit. Not quitting, not taking this advice from people who said, hey, you should quit, you're never going to make it. And she ignored all of that, did her own thing, made her a self-made billionaire. J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter was rejected something like 28 times before she was picked up by a publisher. And to date, she's the only billionaire to be removed from the billionaire list because she donated so much money, she's now a millionaire. So she never took that for granted. But she worked her butt off, never quit, never gave up on herself, and now she is arguably one of the best people on the planet. I mean, she's done so much for everything. She gave a lot of joy, she donated a lot of money, and she never quit. That's a good example of never quitting and how that can be a positive thing. I was supposed to do the Grand Marnier first. That's okay. This is what it is. The reason I was supposed to do it first is because you're supposed to stir it up with the gin and the Grand Marnier, then put in the blue. But I think those are neutral enough colors it won't matter. Okay, so do that. Blue Caracao and the Parfait Amour. I don't have Parfait Amour. What I do have, and the internet says that Creme de Violette is a reasonable substitute for Parfait Amour, so that is what I'm using today, because my liquor store didn't have Parfait Amour, so Creme de Violette it is. It's supposed to smell like flowers. And since the recipe says the Parfait Amour is for the purple, and this is definitely purple, and there we go. Oh, top up with lemonade, but don't stir. Those are all examples of positive. How about negative? I think everybody can think of examples of negative examples of never quit, where it would be psychologically detrimental, would be John Hinckley Jr. That would be the stalker who was so obsessed with Jodie Foster that he shot President Ronald Reagan to try and get her attention. That's an example of never quit that's really bad, really negative. Mark David Chapman, who stalked and murdered John Lennon. It's another example of never quit. Date rapists, serial rapists, murderers, serial killers. Those are all examples of not quitting as a negative trait. So like all things, it's how you handle and process things, right? Are you going to the dark place like a Hinckley or a Chapman? Or are you using that not quit to raise people up and make life better for yourself and those around you? I don't know, I gotta tell you, the purple didn't make it as purple as the Blue Caracao. The Blue Caracao was outweighing the purple at this point. I think it was supposed to be a purple cocktail. That is definitely not purple. That is a blue cocktail. Need a dash of elderflower syrup. Dash is such a undefined term. A boop, dash of elderflower syrup. Drop a maraschino cherry in. Now it does not say to stir it up after that, so what other bon mots are in here? So that was one example of, it's like, there's some good and some bad. Quote, sometimes friends need your help. If they're able, they'll ask for it or cry out in agony as they are being carried away by dragosaurs or attacked by swamp beasts. But sometimes people are too shy or scared to ask for help. Regardless, it'll take a lot less time and effort on your part if you either ignore them completely or distance yourself in advance of any of their hardships. Well, I could take it or leave it. It mostly just tastes sweet. Can't really taste the lemonade. Can't really taste the gin. It just tastes sweet. That's pretty psychotic on the whole, right? Just abandon your friends because they ask for help, and you get through life with friends, right? And if you help your friends out, they will in turn help you out when you need it. So just cutting them off because they ask for help is a fast track to dying alone. On the flip side, sometimes friends are so overwhelmingly negative and toxic, you really are better off cutting them off from your life. Like, for example, Skeletor. If you have a friend like Skeletor, who is the walking, talking definition of a needy, abusive friend, you're probably better off kicking him out of your life. So there's some solid advice there. Sometimes you're better off just cutting ties. So really, it's like emotional vampires, right? If you don't know what that is, you can watch What They Do in the Shadows, which is hilarious. Definitely has an emotional vampire or two in there. But that'll give you an idea of that overwhelmingly negative, toxic trait that you don't need. And then, yes, you are better off kicking them out of your life. However I'm using Skeletor may be, man, I would have cut his ass loose a long time ago if he were a friend of mine. I'm just not even up for that level of drama. And the whole book is like this. It's good advice wrapped in, you probably shouldn't do that unless you're Skeletor, unless it really is good advice. So it's kind of odd, but it was fun. It was fun. And then there's just the snarky cheekiness. Quote, mansplaining is necessary and usually well received. I laughed out loud on that one. Don't forget leg day. Another piece of solid advice. And then there's this occasional, what does he mean by that? I can't really tell. For example, quote, it's time you stop subscribing to traditional gender roles. Support girls who play with cars, encourage boys who play with dolls, go see a women's basketball game, and pay a man to mop up while wearing a harness and calf-high boots, which, A+ advice. I would definitely pay a man to mop up while wearing a harness and calf-high boots. I might have to get my husband calf-high boots. Is he making a dig at gender stereotyping? Is he making a dig at trans community who, like, the very second somebody expresses any kind of interest in something that isn't gender normal, they're instantly, bam, labeled as transgender? So is that a dig at that? Or is it just general out there advice? I mean, I'm a girl who likes cars. Definitely not a dude. Definitely don't identify as a dude. Yes, to all of the above. It was part graphic novel, part psychological, part just humorous. I mean, overall, this book was a very fast read. I think I read it in about 30 minutes. Seriously, about 30 minutes. I read it over my morning coffee one day. And I'm still kind of like, yeah, but no, but yes. It literally took me 30 minutes, including admiring the artwork. It took me longer to write up this review and mix this cocktail than it took to read this book. But it was fun. And I mean, now my brain break is over. I've got my Skeletor shirt, and I'm gonna go on to more serious stuff next week. So if you liked what you saw, do let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.